everyone, Jim Branscombe here from the Cinematic Void vlog. Kind of out and about doing a little walk on Thanksgiving Day before, enjoying eating Thanksgiving dinner. And I thought it might be a good time to do kind of a upcoming update kind of Void video. I guess firstly, I want to thank all the new subscribers on the YouTube channel that have joined through the the top 10 60s horror film list. Thank you and welcome. And I feel like every time I do one of these lists and I pick up a bunch of new subscribers, I kind of have to explain who I am and what the channel is. Cinematic Void is actually a film screening series that I do in Los Angeles. Been doing it for 8+ years, going to be turning 9 in February of 2025. Currently, I'm doing a weekly residency at the Los Feliz 3 in Los Angeles, basically screening a different movie every Monday there, for the most part, and also do other bigger events and also do screenings across the country. But, basically the whole point of the YouTube channel is to kind of help promote that stuff, and obviously I've gotten a little bit more of a reach, so yeah, and I kind of want to talk about what I got coming up in December, and then a little bit about what I got coming up in January, since January is typically the biggest month for my film screening series because it's January Giallo, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But I want to talk a little bit about December, and I guess where I get started, I could talk about what's coming up on the YouTube channel. For those of you who enjoy top 10 lists, I'll be doing another one of those sometime in December. It's going to be a top 10 Christmas horror list, so I guess, start thinking about what those films are for you that you love. I got a list together, and it's not going to be as crazy as some of the other lists, but there's going to be a few oddball picks, but pretty much everything you think should be on there will probably be on there, at least I think, or I could be wrong. Maybe some of the obvious choices aren't so obvious, but we'll find out. That's probably going to be like the second or third week of December. I got the list together. I just have to start filming it and pulling clips and that kind of stuff. Also, gonna start getting back out there and doing more filming locations. Haven't done any for a while. I actually haven't done any or too many like leaving the house type videos, which is why I'm doing this vlog like this, as opposed to setting up in my apartment and filming, which is it's good, but sometimes you need a little change of location also, or a change of scenery or whatever. Switch hands here. But yeah, I want to get out and do some more filming location videos. Eventually I'm supposed to do a Repo Man video with my homie Kellen of the Kellen's Petty Talk Show. Do the filming location for that. Might try doing that in the next few weeks or so. Independently, I'm gonna start working on a body double filming location video. Been thinking about doing that for a while, and I saw the Vista Theater in Los Angeles was going to be doing some midnight shows of it, and I thought, maybe that's the sign that I should go out and do a body double location video. Location videos I've done are like, some people care, some people don't. I basically just do movies I care about and things that interest me, and if it interests you, that's cool. If not, well, it's just another video on YouTube, and that's fine by me. I guess as a content creator, I should have be more catering or try to figure out what videos are going to be big hits. And I don't know, I feel like what I want to do is just share things I love, and if it connects, it connects, and if it connects much later, that's fine too. I mean, obviously the top 10 list are what are the kind of things that have been hitting right now, but occasionally there's been episodes of In the Mouth of Cinemadness and some of the filming location videos and some of the other vlogs that have done relatively well. So, and if you're new to the channel and you haven't checked that stuff out yet, and you just kind of seen only the top 10 list, definitely give some of that stuff a watch, or not. It's a free country, or free world I should say, because it's not just people in the US that's checking this out. Anyway, that's pretty much YouTube. Talk about the podcast here as I switch hands again. Never know how tiring it is to hold a phone up for a few minutes straight. But gonna have a couple more podcast episodes. Just dropped a new one about the film, I guess the film aficionado or what do I call it? Oh, Cinephile. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. The Cinephile-centric app, Letterboxd. That's on all podcast platforms as well as a version on YouTube. I'm going to be doing an episode on Robert Altman's Brewster McCloud, one of my favorite Robert Altman movies. Part of a series that Nick, my co-host, and I have been talking about doing a bunch of Robert Altman movies. So far, the only one we've done is Nashville. So Brewster is going to be the second one. So this series is going to probably go into next year. But, besides that, we'll most likely have our 2024 favorites, traditionally the last episode of the year that we always do. I'm going to try to squeeze another episode in between Brewster and that, but knowing us and our schedule, that's probably not going to happen. But so at least 2 more episodes before the end of the year. Actually, there might be another one in there when I do a January Giallo kind of announcement episode. That might be a little mini episode. Or I think last year we just tacked it on with the favorites best of episode of 2023. So we shall see what we end up doing here. But yeah, so I got podcasts coming. I guess I should talk about the main function what I do, which is the film screenings. And I talk a little bit about my December lineup for Los Feliz 3. That is going to be kicking off on Monday, December 2nd. Going to be showing Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop. It's already sold out, which is kind of a theme for this month. Sort of the last 2 screenings of my November series, which was The Art House of Horrors. I showed Diabolique, The Haunting, the original Haunting, the Robert Wise Haunting, Repulsion, and Kirineko. Repulsion and Kirineko both sold out. The other 2 screenings did really well too, but it's kind of nice to see Kirineko sell out because out of maybe the 4, it was the lesser known, but it's a really great movie. So packed house, beautiful 35mm print from Janus Films, aka the home company of the Criterion Collection. So yeah, and with RoboCop being sold out, that's 3 in a row. And I gotta say, I think November, outside of January Giallo and the Hong Kong summer series I did back in, I think it was, June. And those were the big series this year. I think last year I had a lot more sold out screenings kind of back to back and clustered in. And then I had a kind of a lull of things that just didn't sell out. Did okay, but not everything's going to sell out. And when you're doing 50 plus screens a year on Mondays, again, not everything's going to sell out. And I think I mentioned in the programming film curation vlog, Halloween season's always tough. Usually Christmas is kind of tough too, because there's a lot of Christmas horror movies, but everyone's playing them. Friends in the New Beverly traditionally do Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night, or some variation of that. It's always Black Christmas, and I think there's a big Black Christmas 50th anniversary celebration going on. So tons of theaters across the country and in Los Angeles are playing Black Christmas, and I don't know, it's kind of really no point for me to play that movie. I've never played Black Christmas. I have played Silent Night, Deadly Night way back, I think maybe 2017 or 18. I did as a triple feature with my friends from Friday Night Frights, now just Killer Movies with Josh Miller, one of the co-writers of Sonic the Hedgehog. I almost said Sonic Youth, but Sonic the Hedgehog. We did Silent Night, Deadly Night 1, 3, and 5. We did all the odd ones, and that was kind of fun. It's kind of hard when everyone's playing the same movie, so I kind of try to do things different. I don't do a lot of Christmas horror, and I think last year I did Nuclear Winter, which were movies that had to do with nuclear subplots. So I did The Dead Zone, and I did Repo Man. The year before that I did kind of a action-oriented Christmas movies. So I did Invasion USA with Chuck Norris, Maniac Cop 2, directed by Bill Lustig, The Silent Partner, and what's the one I'm forgetting? Oh, The French Connection, the William Friedkin movie with Gene Hackman and Roy Scheider. So yeah, I kind of steer away from Christmas horror, and this year's been no exception. The thing I'm doing this year is called Robotic Winter, which, obviously showing RoboCop, and that's kicking off. Kind of got derailed there talking about that, but got the production designer William Sandell and set decorator Robert Gould coming out, and they're doing a Q&A after the movie. I actually know Bill pretty well, and actually if you've watched any of the vlogs, you've seen Bill pop up a couple of times, usually in the Midsummer Scream recaps, because he's a big Halloween fanatic. Not only was he a production designer on RoboCop and other Paul Verhoeven movies like Total Recall, he went on to be the production designer for Hocus Pocus, the beloved Disney Halloween classic. So Bill's a good friend. I hadn't had him out for a Q&A in a while, so it seemed kind of fitting, and really happy that it sold out. The week after that, at the Lost Fields 3, doing a brand new movie, and it's co-presented by my friend Teresa from Scream Screen out in Denver. She also works for Vinegar Syndrome. She runs the Vinegar Syndrome Denver store that just relocated and in the process of reopening, but she's going to be in town, and we're actually doing 2 screenings. I'll talk about the Lost Fields 3 one first, which is a movie called Black Eyed Susan. It's directed by Scooter McCrae, who directed Shatter Dead, one of the great indie horror movies, the late 80s, early 90s. You can look up what Black Eyed Susan about. It's really rough subject matter, but it's really interesting kind of, movie that shatters your moral compass in many, many ways. Scooter, the director, is actually going to zoom in for the Q&A because he lives out in New York. But one of the actors, Damien Maffei, who I think he's in one of the Stranger sequels. It's like, I don't know what's called. It's like Strangers of the Night. It's just like a song lyric or a song title, but he'll be there in person. So we're gonna have a half Q&A of in person and half Q&A on Zoom. So sounding pretty good for such a bleak subject matter, or maybe some people just blind buying. The other screening I'm doing, Teresa, while she's here, I'm going to be back at the Frida Cinema on December 8th, which is a Sunday. We're doing a festive, wintry double feature of titles in the Vinegar Syndrome catalog. We're going to be doing Don't Open Till Christmas, which is kind of the reverse Santa slasher, where it's a killer killing people dressed as Santa Claus, for those who haven't seen it. It's produced by the man who produced Pieces, so if you're a fan of Pieces, you'll probably dig this. Really, really, really good slasher movie. Also has Carolyn Monroe, famous scream queen, in it, and a cameo just playing herself singing a musical number. So there's that. Also, that screening's a double feature. We're also going to be showing Winter Beast, which is kind of a DIY regional horror movie with really crazy effects and gore, and yeah, and it's called Winter Beast, so it fits into the whole holiday, Christmas, snowy theme that we have going on. Now, after those screenings, back at the Lost Fields 3 on the 16th for another sold-out show, which is The Terminator, brand new 4K restoration, and in person will be producer and co-writer Gail Ann Hurd, and really excited for that. Gail Ann, obviously worked on a lot of those early James Cameron movies, and she was also producer on Walking Dead, or I guess still is. I guess there's some version of that show still in there, so really excited that she's coming out. She's going to be doing an intro, and then I'm going to be doing a Q&A with her after the movie. The following week, I'm going to be showing the Indonesian knockoff of Terminator, which is Lady Terminator, and yeah, it's pretty much that, except it's a little bit of a cheat, I should say, because it's not really a robot. It's more, kind of a black magic oriented, but at some point there's a lady dressed like the Terminator, acting like the Terminator. Sure, she's not a robot, more of a black magic, like witchcraft-based creature, but it's still called Lady Terminator, and the movie's absolutely insane. Showing a 35mm print of that. Really excited for that screening. That one is, at the time of this recording, pretty close to selling out, so I'm really happy that that's going to sell out, and kind of hoping the whole month sells out, and has a pretty good chance. And yeah, kind of closing out December for my Monday screenings. I'll be showing Wes Craven's Deadly Friend, which a little bit of a maligned Wes Craven movie to some, but I actually like it a lot. If you haven't seen it, basically, there's this smart kid that builds a robot. Robot gets destroyed. There's a girl he knows who dies. Kind of combines the robot with the girl, creates ultimate killing machine. There's a very infamous scene involving a basketball, which I've put in the trailer for the event, and always get a good reaction of it. Like when I'm behind the curtain waiting to go up to introduce the movie and the trailers are playing, I always hear this people like, whoa, kind of reaction. And it's always that little basketball bit from Deadly Friend that's in the trailer. So I'm gonna be co-presenting it with my friend Josh Miller of Killer Movies with Josh Miller, who I mentioned earlier. So yeah, that's how I'm closing out 2024 in the void. I guess to kind of close things off or up, I want to talk a little bit about January Giallo 2025. I don't know, really excited for this January Giallo. Working on a guest. If you guys are aware of what I did for this year, had legendary filmmaker Sergio Martino here in person, and I don't know, it was great. It was a definite bucket list type event. You know, did Q&A with him in Los Angeles and Chicago, and for 2025, working on having another guest that would be really a big deal if it happens. It's all tentative. It's just like, you know, just waiting for the final okays and sign-offs and the go-aheads. And, you know, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like that if this doesn't happen, January Giallo is not going to be great next year or in 2025. It's still going to be really good regardless, but, you know, there's a difference between being absolutely mind-blowing and just great. And, you know, I'm hoping it's absolutely mind-blowing, but, you know, just great is great. Who's going to complain about great? Because I'm waiting on this guest to get finalized and all that travel and schedule to work out, I haven't really gotten too far ahead in January in booking my stuff. I do got one title confirmed, and I'm going to reveal it here. Going to be showing the Bloodstained Shadow. It's a Italian language 35mm print, which means we're going to be doing live subtitling as the film plays. I've done this several times over the last few years. I showed a Italian language print of Dario Argento's opera, as well as Blade in the Dark by Lamberto Bava. Did Fulci's A Lizard in Woman's Skin. Did Perfume the Lady in Black. Was trying to do my personal print of The Killer Still Among Us this year, but subtitling program decided to not work the day of the screening, so we had to use a backup, which is really unfortunate because, like, I had bought that print and I've been really excited to finally screen my own personal print of that movie. Didn't happen. But since then, the program is working again, which is good. And yeah, so I'm gonna kick off January Giallo, at least in LA, with the Bloodstained Shadow. Can talk about a little bit of traveling I'm going to be doing for 2025, because these are all confirmed. I'm going to be heading to Denver. I think it's on the first Saturday in Denver. I'm trying to think when that is. I don't have a calendar on me. Whatever the first Saturday is in Denver, I'm going to be there for screening at the C Film Center for their January Giallo with Teresa of Scream Screen, if I could say it, and Keith Garcia, Denver Film, and artistic director of the C Film Center. Be showing Sergio Martino's Torso. Might be a 35mm print, might be a DCP, I don't know yet, but my travel's booked, so I'm gonna be there. So whatever that first Saturday is, I think it's, I'm trying to think what it is. Yeah, I don't have a calendar on me. Should actually wrote that down. But yeah, whatever that first Saturday is, I'm in Denver. The following Saturday, I'm going to be back in Boston, Brookline area, do a screening at the Coolidge Corner Theater. I'm going to be doing Dario Argento's The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Really excited for that. Got a little mini vacation worked in this one. I'm going to go to Salem, Massachusetts, one of my favorite places to visit. I know I was just there back in April, but I like going in the winter, mostly because it's less crowded than the spooky season. Obviously, less things are open, but it's a different vibe, and I like it there. I'll be staying at the lovely Hawthorne Hotel, one of my favorite hotels to stay at. and really looking forward to that. So I'll be there a couple days early, and then on that Saturday, I'm gonna move over to Brookline and do that screening at Coolidge. I want to shout out my homie Midnight Mark Anastasio, one of my early partners on teaming up and doing January Giallo across the country. I think this is 4th year we've done this. I think so. Yeah, it's the 4th year we've done one of these coming up, so really stoked for that. Hopefully, don't know yet, but depending on if the guest gets booked, I'll be heading to Chicago as well. But can't talk about things that aren't locked in yet. So yeah, this is just a little, well, not a little, it's a little bit of a long update video of me like stumbling and fumbling, talking about what's upcoming in Cinematic Void. Anyway, that's your update. I'm gonna finish up this walk and go enjoy Thanksgiving. And yeah, well, I would say happy Thanksgiving, but by the time this video is posted, it won't be Thanksgiving, but it'll be just a memory of all the food I ate and the food coma I go into soon after. But until next time, see you in the void, and looking forward to December and January Giallo 2025.